Hi everyone, welcome back to Afflicted and Fabulous, and my name is Latrice. Today we're going to talk about the topic of fabulous, as in afflicted and fabulous. But we're going to talk more specifically about defining your own kind of fabulous, or we're going to talk about defining your own kind of fabulous or becoming your own kind of fabulous. In this discussion today, I hope you begin to understand why I decided to name this movement Afflicted and Fabulous. So let's go back to Afflicted. We started the movement, or I started the movement. I started the movement Afflicted and Fabulous kind of as a spinoff from what I have been doing in my work. Again, we're talking about fabulous today. But in a previous video, we talked about the definition of the word affliction, which means to cause great distress or pain. And we talked about how an affliction is not just a physical disability, although that is what sparked my desire to start Afflicted and Fabulous, was the actual physical disability that I have. But in so doing the research, I discovered, that affliction is not just a disability. And I think I kind of knew that, as most of us did, but we in our society just attribute affliction to some kind of disability of sorts, physical, mental, typically. But we come now to know that anything that causes distress or pain is an affliction. So a disability, I have AOD, some of my family members have diabetes, I have a granddaughter with epilepsy. Right now there's a mass pandemic going on, so it's an affliction that keeps on giving, and a lot of people are surviving it, which is a beautiful thing. But the other affliction that is being caused by this pandemic is loss of employment, loss of income, which causes great distress and pain, because now we're looking at homelessness increasing because people are losing their jobs, those kind of things. But those are all afflictions. So having a loss of income causes great stress. And so that in and of itself is a sort of an affliction, and there's a way you have to deal with that in order to come out of it. So not all afflictions are long-term, not all of them are lifetime, some are situational, but it is something that causes you stress. So Afflicted and Fabulous, again, is here to provide encouragement. Initially it was for women with disabilities, but just right now I am opening my window and providing encouragement to anybody with an affliction at this point. And hopefully I can provide services to some of you at some point. But so the fabulous part was where I decided that just because I have a disability does not mean I can't be my regular fabulous self. And that sounds a little vain, but that's not my intention. I have always been an open heart, a big spirit, kind of an introvert, but when I'm in the crowd, I can be part of the crowd, but when it's time to go, it's time to go. And so a part of me has always been this kind of big personality. But in part of the disability, or my disability, for example, I went through a period of 7 years undiagnosed. So we knew we had these symptoms going on. And because I was so stressed out about it, my symptoms, my flare-ups were more constant and more big and more grand and more fabulous, if you want to say. And so it just bugged me a lot until I got to a point where, you know what, I realized I was still living, I was still working, I was still doing, I was still being. That once I realized that I was still doing all those things, that I was still Latrice with the affliction, I was able to, a little medical intervention and family intervention, come out of depression. And I knew I was in depression because I had gotten to more than 240 pounds, and I had slowed down in what I was doing, my outside activities. I stopped dressing, I stopped wearing makeup, and not to say that dressing a certain way or wearing makeup creates fabulous. You define your own fabulous and what that looks like. And for me, it used to be making sure my hair was done, making sure my nails were done, making sure I was dressed properly, making sure I was speaking like I had sense, making sure I was confident in producing whatever work I did well. But through that period, I started to lose all of that and lose some of myself. And I even had a friend say, what's going on with you? You seem a little off. No, I'm good. I'm good. I even had one of my clients ask me that, like, you don't seem like yourself right now. You okay? And to have a client tell you that is just, it's kind of a wake up call. Like, whoa, I'm supposed to be here serving you, and here you are serving me. But through all of that, I discovered that I had to become Latrice again, to figure out who she was, where she went, and bring her back. I didn't do it all by myself, by the grace of God. His hand was in this. My family and my friends were in this. And so, I got back to my good girl self. Now, that doesn't mean I'm dressed every day, especially now. I work from home. Sometimes I work in my PJs. Sometimes I actually get up and get dressed, and my family's like, where are you going? And I'm like, in my office. But that's just who I am. And I didn't want to, just because we're in this pandemic, I didn't want to let that lead my life and make me not be who I am. I didn't want it to take over my life. I even got to the point where I had to tell my husband, okay, that's enough for the news today. We don't need to hear about the pandemic. We don't need to see another life lost today at the hands of the police or somebody else who wants to be the police. Enough was enough. So anyways, my point is, I found my fabulous again. And so my mission today is to help you find your fabulous again, or at least just talk about it, just so you can be mindful of it, or just so that you can remember that that is a part of you. I have my notes down here in front of me because I just want to make sure I don't leave anything out when I go over this with you. Okay, so for me, fabulous is not just, like I said, being beautiful on the outside, because we know there are a lot of beautiful people on the outside. I mean, gorgeous, and just there are just some beautiful people in the world, but their spirit is just ugly. It is not cute at all. They got a nasty attitude. They talk to people all kind of crazy ways, and that's not what we're here for. My idea of fabulous is you knowing who you are, and you being confident in who you are, and you being able to walk in the world no matter how that looks. Back when we were in college, my friends would give me grief about wearing Chuck Taylors, a mini dress, and a baseball hat. Now, let me tell you, when I think back, looked a little bit of a hot mess, because it would be like a denim baseball hat, a mauve color. What color was that dress? It wasn't mauve. It was more of a orangey color, tangerine-ish, and some black low top Chuck Taylors. I remember wearing that outfit, and I used to wear my hair super short, kind of like this, but all over. And I would put this baseball hat on backwards, mind you, and they'd be like, girl, where are you going? It doesn't matter, because I was doing it moving. And I still felt good about myself. And it might have been just a Saturday to drive back from one college campus to another, because we used to party 3 to 4 hours away. But that's another story. But you couldn't tell me I was not fabulous, that I was not awesome in my young 20s rights, with my banging body, my attitude. It wasn't stank, but it was confident. I knew she was she, and I was okay with her. They didn't have to dig my outfit. If I dug it, that was all that mattered. And they tried to give me grief about it, but they still my sister, still my sorors, and to this day we rock. So it didn't matter that my fabulous at that moment looked different from theirs. They knew Latrice was good with where she was at. And so that's what I just want to remind you, that you are good where you are. If you find yourself seated in depression, or in a moment that's not good, your finances aren't right, you just lost your job, grieve. Yes, absolutely grieve it, because that helps to build us up on the inside. We have to get rid of all that stress some kind of way, and we don't want it to eat us so that we can't move forward. So yes, absolutely grieve it, but then you have to develop a plan so that you can come out of it. If you find that you're losing the way you look on the outside, pull that back together, pull it in, and that will help you build your inner confidence. Because I know for me, if I'm doing just I'll put on a little lipstick, a little eyeliner, throw on a cute little shirt, maybe some jeans and some tennis shoes, and I'll feel better just because I brighten my face up. And it brings me back to a level of fabulousness that I wasn't. Now, sometimes you got to fake it till you make it. You got to put your makeup on every day just so you can get back to where you need to be. But wearing makeup every day is not always a part of your fabulous. If you love a clean, fresh face, girl, I'm all for it. I've had acne for years and it has finally cleared up, but I still have acne scars. So I like to wear a little bit of makeup just to cover that up. That helps my confidence. But trust me, when I go out of here on Saturday with no makeup on at Target, she still is she, and she is fine with her acne scars and sweatpants and t-shirt and not slippers. I wear some slides because it's just not cute to be outside in your pajamas and your house shoes. That's just not a thing. Not fabulous. Boo. No, I don't care how confident you are. Not fabulous. But just to keep us back on track, because we're already in at 11 minutes, I just wanted to touch on fabulous again as a whole. Now, I typically like to define my words. So when I talk about them a little bit, like in affliction, we defined affliction. And as for fabulous, marvelous, wonderful, words like that. That's what fabulous conjured up for me. It also said fantasy and fantastical and, you know, all of that, but grand and wonderful, but it doesn't get very specific, and that's because you get to define your own side of fabulous. So if that's rocking sneakers and a t-shirt every day, then that's fine for you. If that's rocking stilettos and a blazer, that's awesome. If that's always in a dress, that's awesome. That's one level of fabulous. That's your exterior. The other level of fabulous is, what does your inside look like? Is it angry and ugly and spewing venom at people? That's not fabulous. A fabulous person is confident enough to walk in kindness in everything they do. So even when times get tough, even when somebody says something ugly to them or do something ugly to them, now there's some ugly things that go on, and even I turn off fabulous and turn on, you know, that other her. But there's a time and a place for everything. But you know what I mean is, say I'm at the office and somebody's giving me grief. That doesn't mean I need to spew grief back at them. I check my fabulous self, or my fabulous self checks my other self and says, okay, even if this is directed at you, you don't have to give it back to them. So my rule, and I tell this to my kids and their friends, and anybody who needs to hear it, take 3 seconds before you speak. That gives you a moment to relax yourself. Go, this ain't about me. This person right here is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and I need to deal with them on another level. Make your peace. You don't have to agree with them. You don't even have to argue with them. You might agree with them if you think about it, but even if you don't, you can say no or your yes or whatever it is without acting up. And that's what I mean by fabulous. You know who you are and you're confident in her, and you're okay with that. And so you're okay with disagreeing or having somebody snap at you and go, hold on, let me think about this before I respond, so that you are responding in your best possible self. And that's inside and outside. Now, I'm not perfect in this, so I'm not expecting you to be, because there are times that I snap off. And that's not my cute side. But sometimes you have to. It just is what it is. But if I know I'm wrong, then I'll check myself about it later. And I'll try not to do it in a place where I know it's really inappropriate. And so that's why I give myself 3 seconds before I, go outside my fabulous self. Or yes, so that I don't go outside my fabulous self. But I haven't always had this light in me, right? Some of us are born with this light, that we land on earth fabulous. We're born knowing we're fabulous babies. We grow up to be fabulous children, and we exude just wonderful light all the time, right? Some of us are born with that, but don't really know how to tap into it or how to use it, so we stay in our shell. Some of us had it, and somebody else or some other situation tamped it out, like dimmed our light for us. And so we no longer have that light, right? Or it's no longer shining. It's there, but it's no longer shining. For those of us who have that light and have always had that light, shine it on somebody else. It's not going to take anything away from you. It's not going to tear you down any. It actually will build somebody else up, and somebody else will see you build this other person up, and they'll be like, oh my God, she's so awesome. That was a wonderful thing you did. You may not even know they saw it, but somebody's always watching. So that would be my request of you. Shine your light on somebody else. Tell them that they're fabulous too in some little small kind of way, and just give them a little bit of your light. Again, it's not going to take anything from you, and you know that already because you were born fabulous. For those of us who weren't able to tap into our fabulous, but we know it's in there, or for those of us who've had it stamped out by something or someone else, then I want you to look for a light source so that you can again grow back into your fabulousness. So whether that be at church, a mentor, somebody on TV. Some people love Auntie Oprah, love Auntie Michelle. It used to be Komora with Fabulosity. There are all these wonderful women and men. It could be a contemporary somebody. It can be one of our ancestors. But just find somebody who has that fabulous light that you love, because you're drawn to them for some reason. I don't know what that reason is. It could be something great that they did or something great that they said, but it's something about them that you follow. It could be how they wear their clothes. It could be how they walk in life. It's something. So I just want you to tap into that and then pull a little something of that out every day. Start with something small, even if it's just putting on some lipstick, wearing your grandmother's locket because she always had your back. Just something. Tap into something every day, and remind yourself that you're fabulous every day, even if you have to fake it until you make it. Look in the mirror and say, I'm fabulous, I'm awesome, I'm here. I'm fabulous, I'm awesome, I'm here. You can even meditate. Fabulous, I'm awesome. On the breath out. So you're thinking this in your head, and if you need to speak it out, you can. I'm fabulous on the inhale, and I'm awesome on the exhale. Just your meditation. Just do it every morning if that's all you can do, and that will start to get you. Once you say it, if you write it down, you'll start to believe it. So let's go back. First, I want you to define what your fabulous looks like. So that's part of picking your icon. So whether it's a historical figure, a contemporary figure, a style icon, a great orator, somebody who speaks light and truth, somebody who said something powerful and wonderful to you, and they again could be somebody new in your life or somebody old, somebody you don't know, somebody you do know, that kind of thing personally. The second step is that put on lips gloss every day, or wear your grandmother's locket, or the meditation. I'm fabulous, I'm marvelous. I'm fabulous, I'm marvelous. Okay, so that's step 2. I wanted to make sure I hit all my steps. Step 3 is to start digging down deep and recognizing those pieces of you that look like your icon. Because again, like I said, you're drawn to them because those things are in you and you recognize them. And so once you start to pull them out, you will realize that there are some beautifully, wonderfully, marvelous things about you. And then you'll go, you know what, I am fabulous because I've done this. I've helped such and such when they weren't in a good place. And it's not to be braggadocious, but it's to build your self-esteem, to remind yourself that you are marvelous and fabulous in your inner soul. So start to recognize those things and pull them out of yourself. And then you'll start to notice that once you're starting to feel better, you'll start to look better. You'll walk taller. You'll be more confident in your thought process and when you're speaking out, which is the next step. Now that you're starting to feel better, you're feeling more confident, you've recognized that you have done some things successfully. Now you're going to take that into the workplace and start to work a little harder on some assignments, speak out a little bit more on some assignments, say, you know what, I think this will be a great idea. And if they say no, that's okay. They don't always have to accept your idea, but they'll go, you know what? She's really smart. She has some good things to say, and they'll start to ask you to do other things, and this will set you up for either promotion or to move on to something you want to do on your own. I had to remind myself of that when I started Afflicted and Fabulous. Originally, it was just to make t-shirts, and my business coach said, listening to your story, t-shirts aren't quite it. Like, that's wonderful, that's a good place, you could use that as part of your thing, but you should be doing this because it makes more sense in light of what you've been doing in your career and how you move, and your story could be a light to somebody else. And I was like, you know, it's this saying something. That piece came from me coming out of depression and starting to move and being willing to go ahead and start a business in something that I really was passionate about so that it can grow. And then that allowed me to take further steps to get to where I am now, a certified life coach. But it all started from having my light tamped out by ALD, and then having something in me, God, his light, remind me that, what you doing? That's not who you are. Bring her back out, and taking those steps to remind myself, give myself a little mantra, putting on a little lip gloss, a little lipstick, eating less, shedding some weight, starting to speak up again more than I used to, and just building myself into a place where I'm good in my career, and then where I'm good in a extension of my career into my side business, I'll call it now, because I still work full time. And then the last step is to always move in kindness. If you remember to move, speak, live in kindness, again, recognizing that sometimes things will happen where it feels like you aren't doing things in kindness, but sometimes you have to, because we live in this world, and sometimes we have to speak harsh or harder than we want to survive. But for the most part, to move in kindness, and that also will build your self-esteem and build you as a woman into the fabulous whole being that you are, and that you are destined to be. So this turned out a lot longer than I expected it to be. But I did want to chat with you and give you my life into how I came back to my fabulous self. Now, you might not like the fabulous that I got, but I'm good where I am. I know I have some things that I want to change in my life, and I'm working towards those things. So that's all I'm asking you to do, is work towards those things for yourself. But remember that you are fabulous as you are. And any changes you make will just make you even more fabulous. Again, fabulous is not just fashion. It's your outside, your inside, and the way you move around in the world. Anyway, that's a whole lot to say about defining or becoming your own kind of fabulous. Again, this is the fabulous part of me, and which is the second half of the Afflicted and Fabulous. I hope you have learned something today, or I've said something to inspire you to come back, to share this video, or to just be happy with who you are in yourself, or be willing to grow into who you are supposed to be. If you want to chat, always feel free to leave comments down below. You can always email me at latrice@afflictedandfabulous.com. I'll leave my information in the box below. But again, I hope you enjoyed this video. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time. Bye.